Hello, America. Welcome to the Voice of Freedom Radio, the voice of rural America and the state of Jefferson movement, which offers you liberty and freedom. Our studios are located in Alturas, California, right in the heart of Modoc County. Our environmental message is the 3C's plan: clean air, clean water, and yes, common sense. We cherish our Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. We will not give up our God, guns, our property rights, or any of our freedoms. Our radio program can be heard on KCFJ AM 570 every Saturday at noon, right after Rush Limbaugh. Or visit our website, thevoiceoffreedomradio.com. That's again, thevoiceoffreedomradio.com, to keep yourself informed. I'm Doug.
And I'm Anthony. Wait a minute.
What?
Where's Ross? Do you know where Ross is? Do you know where your kids are, Doug? It's past dark. Do you know where your children are?
Well, I think he's just a little bit old for that.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess so.
You think at his age he still needs a little fetching up?
Could be. We all do once in a while.
Talk about yourself, you rascal.
That's what I said. We all do once in a while.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank all the people that sent correspondence to us. Give us a phone call. And
let us know you're out there, Tell us what you think of what we're doing here.
Tell us where you're at.
Yeah.
See how far this little old radio signal reaches out there.
You mean this tin can on a string?
Well, if they can hear from here to Carson City, Nevada on a tin can and a string, I want to hear about it.
That's right.
Don't you?
That's some tin can. That's some string.
Ladies and gentlemen, we was mentioned last week on our program that we would be in Alturas this week. Last week, and but the weather came in, and you can see what happened. So we would like to. We're going to postpone that until this coming week. And I'd like to say that there's a person down in Reno, Nevada, in the hospital, and he's our friend,
and we wish him well.
And he's. We don't know exactly what is going to take place yet, but we wish him the best.
Yeah.
And Steve, God bless you, a true patriot. Get well, come on back, and we'll just take on the whole county. How does that?
Yeah, that's right.
That's all right.
After heart surgery, that's what
we'll take on the whole county.
Right. He'd probably do it.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give you information on our website. It's a website that, for some reason, certain people do not like. Oh. Can you imagine that, Tony?
No, I think I love it. I think it's great.
You do?
Yeah, I'm not one of those people. Who are we talking about here?
Well, we don't know exactly, but when we get videos that we round up and put on our website,
right,
they're on for a day, maybe. And then they're gone.
Really?
Yes. And our webmaster is on it, and he is doing a few things and researching things.
You mean we've been hacked?
Hacked and had. Okay?
Signed, sealed, and delivered, huh?
But our website, ladies and gentlemen, is thevoiceoffreedomradio.com.
Right. Thevoiceoffreedomradio.com.
And also there is a man that's on Newsmax.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is Dennis Michael Lynch.
What about him?
Well, he's a true conservative, and he's sort of like me and you and Ross. He's not afraid to speak out.
And that's Newsmax?
That's Newsmax, and it's on... Go ahead.
Where do I find it?
Well, if you got DirecTV, you go to channel 349 on DirecTV, and I understand it's also on Dish.
Sure, and it would probably be on most cable channels as well, but you might have to look for it.
It's Newsmax, and it's Dennis Michael Lynch, and it's unfiltered.
Good.
And what he has to say is not filtered.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it.
Good.
But anyway, if you go to our website, and this Dennis Michael Lynch, last week, he was in Oregon, and he interviewed Ammon Bundy, and he interviewed Ryan Bundy.
The patriots that are in jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've been in solitary confinement, ladies and gentlemen, for 66 days.
You know, I have to ask why the government feels compelled to treat otherwise good citizens, solid people, like they were some kind of super criminal. You know, that I could see incarcerating a serial killer like that, but these guys have families, they pay their bills, you know, all they're doing is protesting what the government's doing. So the government is turning the screws down on these guys and treating them as though they were some kind of major criminal. That in itself is criminal. The whole program is criminal.
Well, the good people out there listening can go to our website and they can go on in that, and we've got it on two different places. We got it first on the main page,
Yeah.
and we got the whole interview. And the Bundys will tell you that they're in there. They did not fire a shot. They was actively working within the confines of the burns there.
Well, they were acting in good faith. They weren't doing anything criminal except to occupy the building. And of course, they had to do that in order to make a protest.
To draw attention to it.
Sure, but when liberals do a protest and shut down traffic on a highway or occupy a city park so people can't use it, nobody arrests them and throws them in jail. Bundy's just trying to make a statement. And the government's painting them those as though they were some kind of major criminal. It doesn't fit. This is what happens when tyranny reigns. Just men have to pay a price in order to get the word out to the rest of the country. And I hope, folks, you're out there listening. I hope you'll pay attention to what these brave, dedicated men are doing. They're doing it for you as much as they're doing it for themselves.
Well, Ammon Bundy, they got him up on a arms charge.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's good about it is this Dennis Michael Lynch, you remember down there in 2014, down there in Clark County in Nevada, when they Harry Reid and his son and the BLM come in there and wanted to get the Bundy, the senior Bundy, Cliven Bundy, off of that property.
Yep.
This Dennis Michael Lynch did a movie on that, and he was with Ammon down there a considerable amount of time when that was taking place.
Yeah, he's documented a lot of this.
And Ammon, he says, why are they charging you up here in Oregon with the arms charge? He says, I was up here, I took video of you, I was with you all day up here, I have never seen you with a sidearm or any other arm on.
No weapon.
No weapon.
Yeah.
Ammon says, I didn't have a weapon up here.
Well,
and down there in Clark County, he didn't have a weapon there either. But the people, the law enforcement up here in Oregon has got him charged on a weapons charge, which he could get at least $1 million fine and spend at least 50 years in jail.
Well, they want to persecute, not prosecute. They want to persecute. They being the government, BLM, whoever's behind all of this, and I think they all are. They want to persecute Bundy, and that means they had to give him a great enough charge to justify the behavior and the things that they're doing. Doesn't matter whether it's right or not. They created a charge that would allow them to behave the way they're behaving. But it's going to backfire on them. And I'm sure they're aware of this, but when this goes to court, that's going to give Bundy's a great argument because they're going to be able to demonstrate that the charges are false, and they may actually be able to cut the government off at the waterline and point out this is a false charge and have the case dismissed just like that.
I understand, but on this interview that this Michael Lynch did, Ammon and his brother Ryan. Do you remember Ryan was also shot in the shoulder or the arm,
Sitting in the truck.
But when he was shot, remember when they first stopped Finicum in the truck up there before they got to that dead man's diversion?
Sure.
Ryan said that they shot one shot at them when they was sitting still.
Right.
That was right after they stopped them.
Right.
And when they discussed whether they was going to stay there or whatever, and they decided they was going to leave, before they got into that dead man's,
Before they went on down the road, and they said they was up about 60, 70 miles an hour, and when they were around the corner where there was the FBI and people, Oregon, had that dead man stop, they call it. You follow me? Yeah, it was in a blind curve where they couldn't see him until they were right on him.
When they did that, and Finicum went off on the side to keep from hitting them,
That's right. Went into the snow.
and the video that the little girl was in the back seat took, it shows that when Finicum was getting out of the truck and standing right there
By the door.
by the door with his hands up,
He says, if you're going to shoot me, shoot me.
and you can see it.
Yeah.
They shot at him. You can see where they hit the glass right beside him.
Yeah.
And now there's supposedly 5 FBI people allegedly did not tell the truth. And Ammon Bundy and also Ryan Bundy, both of them said the fact is that the reason why that Finicum got out of that truck, he knew what they wanted to do. He knew that they wanted to take him out. And when they shot at him and then they deny it, it's coming out like you said. It's going to come out.
Well, all these allegations will come out, and we will know the truth. The Bundys are going to see to that. The government may try to sequester them. They may try to keep the information, but the trial's going to be way too public to keep it all out. And I think the government's going to, the government only has 2 courses, Doug. The government can either try to keep it out of the public eye, or they can try to discredit Bundy. And they'll try to do both, actually. But I think this is going to give the Bundys a platform that they can use to tell the world what's really going on. And if the judge will allow it, we're going to get some really amazing things coming out of that trial. That's my hope.
Well, this is my opinion. The Bundys up there or anybody in there never fired a shot. It was the feds and the law enforcement that did the firing, okay?
Yeah.
They won't even give the Bundys bail. No, they won't give them bail.
Well,
It's a good reason why, because, you know, the Bundys in that group, and Finicum Finicum, he's amazing. He was a walking charter of the Constitution.
Yeah.
And they was headed for John Day up there where they had several hundred people
Waiting.
They had to shut down the Bundys and the Finicums in that group.
And they're going to continue to try to shut them down.
And they're doing it now, but they shut them down so it wouldn't spread up there in around John Day and them other people
In Oregon.
in Oregon, because them people realize what's going on.
Well, if the government was acting irrationally, in my opinion, and they were just short-sighted, because what happened is going to create even more of a controversy in time. And the truth of the matter is that somebody in the higher echelons of government, somebody really high in the BLM, somebody really high in the government, don't know who it was, is pulling the strings. And the guys at the lower level are just doing what they've been ordered to do.
Earning a paycheck.
Yeah. And at some point in time, that I hope will come out,
But I can't, I believe that like in BLM.
Yeah.
But that, I cannot believe that is the sheriff of Harney County
Yeah.
and his
No, they're
cohort sheriff, Mr. Wolf, over in Malheur County, both constitutional officers, and both of them invited the FBI and in to do what they did.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, they acquiesced to it. They agreed to it. It's like everything else we see in government today, Doug. The level of tyranny that we see is overwhelming, in my view. We have so much going on in our country right now, so many issues, and this, as bad as this one, as egregious as it is just typical of everything else that's going on, and it has me worried. Really has me worried.
Oh, one more thing on this Bundy. Ladies and gentlemen, back in 2014, the Bundys was down there in Clark County.
In Nevada.
In Nevada.
Right.
And they was as we understand it, they was the only ranch left in that whole county down there. For some reason, the government, along with BLM, I don't know, maybe the ranchers got some of this. It's not cold or anything like that. It's called, maybe it's like BLM-itis, or it's a disease or something.
Yeah, well, if you depend on BLM and you're a rancher, then you've already got the disease.
So anyway, they went down there, and it was all about the tortoise, because that's what they wanted. But the Chinese wanted to put in a 50-acre solar panel farm. And guess where they wanted to put that in?
Probably on Bundy's property, I would guess.
How did you guess that?
I don't know.
I bet somebody told you.
No, I'm some kind of a sheer genius.
You are? How do you spell that?
Lucky.
There you go. So what happened was, Harry Reid was in bed with the Chinese on that, and as I understand it, the information we have was that the head of the BLM down there where Bundy was appointed by Harry Reid.
Allegedly appointed.
Allegedly appointed. And allegedly his son was working with the Chinese to get that property, and it was worth, somebody said it was in the paper, which could be right, could be wrong, was worth about $47 million, and they was going to let the Chinese have it for $4 to $6 million. And they used the tortoise. But the problem is, in Las Vegas, just south of there in Nevada, they got one of them tortoise deals where they raise them.
Sure.
And guess what?
They're not endangered at all.
No.
Oh.
Do you know how many of them tortoises allegedly it was reported that they euthanized every year? No. At least 1,000 of them.
Really?
But now, the reason I brought this up, Harry Reid, it was a tortoise, right?
Sure.
Now it's the Gold Butte country.
Oh.
It's the environment. Now he's back down there wanting to get the Bundys. See, the Bundys are in jail. Mrs. Bundy, you can see her, and she's on there, and she's got her husband and 3 or 4 sons, all in prison. And good old Harry Reid goes down there. Now he wants the President of the United States to go in there and declare 300,000 acres underneath the Antiquities Act of 1906.
You mean he gave up on the tortoise and he's got another excuse to confiscate land?
Oh, would we say that?
Allegedly.
Allegedly? Yeah, yes.
Well, those are allegations, and some of it we know for sure. The rest of it we can surmise. Just because we're thinking human beings, we can figure it out. But it's clear the tyranny at I was going to say the upper levels of our government, but it goes all the way down to the state level. It goes all the way down to the local level.
Yeah, it does.
The people that govern believe they're above the law. They believe that you and I are rabble that should sit down and shut up and do what they're told.
Oh, I've heard that people tell me that you're a troublemaker, you're a radical. But
Anyway,
on the program, you know what I always ask people?
what's that?
If you can prove me wrong, and I'll
for
go
it.
back on the program and actually inform the people that I was wrong.
Yeah.
Boy, I've sure been wrong a lot of times, ain't I?
But can they make the same claim? Can they make the same promise from their side? If you find out they're wrong, will they go on and admit it?
No.
Not
No.
not on the best day of the week. They won't do it.
You know where they go? Look
No.
underneath this desk right here. You see underneath that desk?
See half a dozen people under there, Doug. I see them hiding.
You see them?
Hiding under. Oh, I thought they were hiding under their desk. You got them hiding here, right?
No, that's their desk.
Oh, that's
That's their desk.
okay.
But see,
Yeah,
when-
did you cover that? I got something I need to talk to you about. Or do you want to say more about that?
No, I think we've said, one more thing.
Okay.
The Bundys and all them people up there never fired a shot. They won't give them bail.
No.
They're in jail, in solitary confinement, and Bundys will tell you they're in there because Oregon, that type of environment, because Oregon's got a conviction rate of 98%.
Ooh.
They're breaking them down. People that's in there are saying, boy, they hope they can go to trial and get into jail or prison because it's a lot better than this, okay?
Yeah.
The Bundys are nothing more than political prisoners of our own government, and I'll stand by that.
Well, in the old Soviet Union, they used to make no bones about property rights and arresting dissidents and all the rest. Here in the United States, because we do have still the remnants of the Constitution, they have to fabricate reasons to treat people like they used to treat them in the old Soviet Union. We don't have gulags, but at the same time, the way they're treating the Bundys is clearly way beyond anything that's necessary based on their actions.
No, they're going all back to 2014, where they took the pictures of them in Clark County in Nevada, and they're rounding up them people that for 2 years now. They're rounding them all up, putting them in prisons. But what did you wanted to say? Almost said Ross, but
Yeah.
you're about 16 pounds more than he is.
Am I? I thought I was smaller than Ross.
That's just in one spot.
Wait a minute.
What?
Now you're hurting my feelings.
I am. Go ahead, Tony.
I have had this in the back of my mind for a long time, and I really want to talk to you folks out there kind of heart to heart. So keep your ear to the radio right now for just a minute, if you will. I want you to know there are patriots and then there are patriots. And what I see the Bundys doing and others, for years I've watched people who really have a strong conviction about the government, the abuses in government, and about correcting the faulty course that this country's taken for the last maybe 20 years. And I've watched men come and go, good men, all of them, and they've all taught me a good lesson. But I want to tell you folks a little bit about the man sitting across from me in this room on the other side of the microphone.
What?
Yeah, well, listen up, my friend. What most of you don't know is that this program, unlike a lot of talk radio programs, we don't have sponsors. We don't go out and solicit funds. We don't ask for support. Doug takes the money out of his own pocket because he believes in you and he believes in the correct principles of government. He, for over 5 years now, he's been making the sacrifice, he and Ross both, to support this program on the radio. You folks out there must know that only dedicated people are willing to dip into their pockets and cover the expenses of putting this kind of a radio program on. Everybody else does it and they make money at it, and that's fine. I think it's a good thing, no matter how you manage to get the truth out there. But let me tell you about these men. I've just been invited to be here, and I thoroughly appreciate and enjoy the opportunity. But my contribution pales in comparison to what Doug and Ross are doing to bring this to you. And if you're not listening to what these men are saying, then you're ignoring an outreach of considerable magnitude. These people love the Constitution. They love our country. They love right and correct principles. They want nothing but the best for you. If you met them on the street, they'd look like just ordinary guys. But in truth, these men are capable of doing exceptional things for your benefit. They see what's happening. They want you to know what's happening. So I just wanted to take this minute. Doug's on the other side of the microphone staring daggers at me because he doesn't like to be pushed in the front. But I think it's important, folks, that you realize there are people around you who know what's going on and are working as hard as they know how to inform you so that you can retain the blessings of rights and liberty that our forefathers accomplished for us. And my hat's off to them. And I think when you see them on the street or when they ask for your support, I think the least you can do, given their sacrifice, the least you can do is sacrifice a little of your time to support them, to come out, tell them you appreciate what they're doing, give them a phone call, tell them it's important to you, and then talk to your neighbors and your friends. Open your mouth. Tell them what's going on in the world. Let's wake everybody up. It's the only way we have of saving our country. So, end of sermon. Sorry about that, Doug, but...
Well, I appreciate it, but
Well, you don't have to say anything.
I didn't know that he was going to do that, folks. I solemnly swear, I did not know that.
And it's a good thing he doesn't have a bat within reach, or I'd get clubbed. But you really have to understand, people. This is so important to those of us who can see what's going on. And we want you to understand what's going on. And we want you to tell your neighbor, if you've been warned, then you have a responsibility to warn your neighbor. That's the only way we're going to save our country. If we don't, then the next generation will know none of the liberties, none of the freedoms. They'll only know tyranny and oppression from the people that are trying to subjugate us and destroy our constitutional form of government. Don't let them do it. Please don't.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a good time to speak out. We have people that puts in the paper, writes letters, and they want to keep California like it is. If we keep going like we are, ladies and gentlemen, we're headed for destruction. California today, the state, is a socialistic state.
The whole country is.
Okay, I just want to speak on the state of California. And ladies and gentlemen out there, I've known the man that's been behind the state of Jefferson in the group. I know them for, 5 or 6 years. If we have a chance, ladies and gentlemen, to take and go back to a democratic republic, We have that. The opportunity is here. Mark Baird, the state of Jefferson man out of Siskiyou County. God bless him and all the people over there. They're in trouble right now because our governor in California is aligned with the governor in Oregon, both the same name, only ours is a he and she, and up there she's a she. And what you may not know about the county of Siskiyou County, while this man, Mark Baird, goes all over the northern part of the state, and we've got 21 counties in the state of Jefferson signed up with the state. Just west of Wairika, California, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States wants to put in a monument. I don't know, maybe 1 million acres. It's just west of Wairika. Now, if our so-called governor of the state of California, and that's what I'm going to call him because that's what he is, he went ahead and put on him through his legislature, put on the ballot Prop 1. Remember the water bill?
I do.
Okay. There's millions and millions of dollars in that Prop 1 water bill that they want to use in California, coupled with the same amount up in Oregon, coupled with the same amount that PP&L that's got those power plants in the Klamath. And if you live in a power area of PPL, you know that you pay a tax on your power bills to help take them dams out. The people in Siskiyou County will stand up. They'll even stand up for the people in Modoc, because in 2010, up in Calpines, we brought in Mark Baird, Tom Pease, and the people over there in Siskiyou County to inform the ranchers of what the state was trying to do to them about water. The message out of Siskiyou County, even when they had problems of their own, when Fish and Game was trying to take and run the ranchers and get them to sign up on some phony water deal in the Scott River, them people still came to Modoc and said, hey, brother and sister, we want to let you know what the state is up to. And now they want to take the dams out. They want to take that monument. I think it's 1 million acres just west of Wairika. That will ruin Siskiyou County, folks. And even when the people in Siskiyou County are being ruined, they're still coming to Modoc. As Mark Baird said 2 weeks ago, he would come over here and explain to the people in Modoc and even in Lassen County how the state of Jefferson will be. It's like a breath of fresh air in a stale environment. We have, the Voice of Freedom Radio has put together some of the things that we're going to be passing out. You may find them on your windshield. You may find them at the table when we're in town.
It's going to be a flyer, right?
It's going to be a flyer. And at the top of it is the seal of the state of Jefferson, and the right is an eagle in the American flag. And if I can hold together a little bit, I'll finish it. This is how the new state of Jefferson will benefit you. The people like Keep It California and all these liberals out here, they want to do the same thing as Jerry Brown is doing.
Well, they want to keep the status quo.
They want to keep the status quo.
Yeah. They don't want us to be free.
You can go on our website and look at the State of Jefferson website. And here's some of the things going to the state of Jefferson. Tony, I gotta let you read them, sir. Some of them.
Happy to do it. Well, this is how the new state of Jefferson will benefit you. Teachers, for example, that are setting up their retirement with CalPERS, they'll still get paid, as residents of the new state of Jefferson. No need to worry.
They'll send their money back to the state of California to CalPERS account.
Yeah, don't let anyone tell you any differently. It can't be handled any other way. Otherwise, they'd be defrauding millions of people. Now, here's the real benefit that I like, Doug.
What's that?
Because of the new climate, the taxing climate that will be created in the state of Jefferson, corporations will love moving here to put in facilities because it won't cost them as much to do business. And that'll encourage them to move here, and that'll create jobs, and jobs will start an economic boom.
Corporations pay zero taxes.
Yeah. Employment in the new state of Jefferson will skyrocket. Anytime you turn the engine of production and ownership free, you release it from the bondage of regulation and unjust oversight. The machine has the ability to put everybody to work. Everybody. It's the socialists are the ones I noticed on the internet. It showed this two pictures. It said in a free country, all the bread is lined up in the store waiting for people to come buy it. In a socialist country, the people have to line up and wait for the bread to come to them because there's so little of it.
Back this last fall, the wife and I was going into town, and we went down Carlos Street off of Centerville Road, hit Main Street, hung a left, went north, and as we got up there toward where I think about where the post office is, I think they had every child that was in the little pee-wee school and the middle school, and they had high school people. They was all on the right side and out there. Ladies and gentlemen, the state of Jefferson, by putting zero corporation tax, will create jobs. Those young'uns of yours, children, look them in the eye, folks. They can get good jobs here. We can harvest some of our timber. We can take in...
Well, we'll throw off the oppression of regulation that's strangling our industry now. We'll be able to grow. We'll be able to produce. Things in Modoc and all the northern counties will be more like the way they were 50 years ago before the regulators came along and started turning the screws down on us.
I'd like to put a message out to Susanville and that Lassen County Times down there, and the people down there in Susanville who keep saying that if we go to the state of Jefferson, they'll lose the prisons. Oh, we'll have to pay for it. We won't have any jobs. Our kids will do without.
That's an uninformed position.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new state of Jefferson will gain ownership of all state prisons within its borders. The ones down there in Susanville will stay there, which will go back to Lassen County. We have one up here on the garden, ladies and gentlemen. You know that. That will go to Modoc County. Okay? This is California statistics. Not mine, not Tony's, not Ross's, or not some person out here that's feeding you information that doesn't know what the heck they're talking about. When those prisons go back to the state of Jefferson and the county, the statistics of California, most of those prisoners in those prisons are from Southern California. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, from Southern California. Do you know Southern California? They got a lot of people down there, and they're farming them out to other states. Did you know that? The prisons? Did you know that, folks?
Well, Southern California, I think, is the point you want to make, will be paying the state of Jefferson to house their prisoners for them.
It'll be like a cash cow.
Precisely.
See, but that's what,
they'll tell you that's not true. But if you look into it, you'll find out that in fact, this will be a benefit. It will not be a negative for the state of Jefferson. It'll be just another benefit.
Look at the big ranches around here. Look at the SX. Look at the big ranches around here, several thousand acres. When the owners die, what happens? If they meet a certain criteria for what they are valued at, right now, a certain amount of money, sometimes they'll have to pay as much as their kids or whoever wants to keep it in the family has to pay as much as 55%.
The inheritance tax.
It's an inheritance tax.
And what they're really doing, the state is really stealing your property in order to fill their coffers, just like any tax. But in this case, they're depriving your children and your children's children of the inheritance that you would give them, that you would ordinarily be able to bequeath them. But in the state of Jefferson, what happens, Doug?
There is no death taxes. It's zero.
And that's the way it ought to be.
Another thing, ladies and gentlemen, about your children in the schools. It's been reported sometimes in the heartland of the South how the Common Core in there, and in that Common Core, some of the people.
Well, you're talking about that new education program, Common Core, right?
Yeah, that's one. That's the one. That's the one. And they have to go in there and learn the Quran and all of this and that. But what to talk about the Christian religion, the Bibles, they don't want them in there.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, the obnoxious Common Core program that hampers our children in public schools will not be taught in the Jefferson schools.
Yep.
And
that reason alone, any of these reasons alone, Doug,
is enough to make anybody wonder.
It's enough ample reason to want to create a new state, to change this. Any one of these. Imagine your children growing up in school, actually understanding how this country came into being and how what they created was a real miracle, instead of being taught that our founding fathers were criminals and slave owners and all of that. That's revisionist history, and it's wrong, and we should not allow our children to be subjected to that kind of nonsense.
You will have excellent representation in the new state.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike the non-existent representation you have now in California.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
They don't listen to the northern counties. We're ignored. They take all our resources from us, our water, whatever else. They deny us the right to use our property the way we want, and yet they're going to tell us how to do everything. They want us to do it the way they do it down south. It simply doesn't work. We need a legislature that is responsive to the voice of the people instead of the deaf response that we get out of Sacramento now.
And also, last week in the local paper, they was talking about all the money that the state of California was keeping away from the rural states, about the roads and all that infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, for 5 years, we've been on this here explaining to the people that the people in our government does not want you, I, or anybody else on this in rural environment. Yeah. Ask yourself, why does Governor Moonbeam pull the money away from our local fair over here in Cedarville? Amazing, huh? And then he just got Prop 1 passed, all those millions of dollars, but he got the Prop 1 going because we had a drought,
right,
and we needed more water storage, right?
Well, you need to take advantage of any crisis, if you're a liberal, to tax the people or subjugate them more.
So anyway, what he did was, it was passed, and he got $250 to $300 million in that bond money that's supposed to go for water storage and clean water. What did he do? He's using that, along with Oregon, to take out 4 dams and a fish hatchery. How many times does these people have to get slapped up beside the head? And what did you say last week was, when are you going to get off your dime, or what was that statement you said?
I don't recall what I said last week, Doug, but I know how I feel today, and that's that people need to get behind the state of Jefferson. If you don't, we've got a golden opportunity here, people, to secure our liberty and our freedom, to correct our course, to not be, the state of California, as far as I'm concerned, the tail wags the dog.
Let me go.
It's the folks in the southern counties that are wagging the tail. They are the tail, and we're the dog, and they're jerking us around. It's about time we put our foot down and said, no more. You're not going to jerk me around one more time. and we create our own state.
Well, some of the
That'll
people
happen.
concerned like that work for Caltrans. Caltrans, basically, for the highways, federal highways and state.
Yeah, they're afraid of losing their job.
That state of Jefferson will, as I understand it, a large share of that money is coming from the federal government for infrastructure. And if the state of Jefferson, that's a state, we should get our fair share.
The state of Jefferson won't be without resources. The state of Jefferson will still have an income just like any other state, and it'll be able to take care of its employees. Anybody that's working for the state of California will automatically, the state would be crazy if they didn't take those people and just move them over and keep them doing the same thing. What makes you think they're going to fire them all and send them home? That is such nonsense and such a lie.
It won't be the illegals trying to get into the state of Jefferson. It'll be the people in California down there that realize what's going on. They'll want to come up here because even like on the Second Amendment deal, they're going to take and
from all over the country.
all over they'll be in here.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, support the creation of the new state of Jefferson from 21 Northern California counties. It will greatly improve your life, liberty, and happiness. Your children and your children's children will thank you.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and your children come up to you and say, "Daddy, look what we're in now. Why didn't you open your eyes and help out when you had the chance?"
Well, the truth of the matter is their kids won't even know that they're being oppressed any more than we know. But you will know. This isn't just about you. This is about your children.
And its futures.
And your children's children. Look at what the United States has been able to do in the last 200 plus years, because our founding fathers gave us a constitution with liberty, a country based in law instead of the whims of the tyrants running it. Now we've almost lost that, such that it's the other way around. Now we have tyrants telling us what we're going to do. It's about time we put our foot down.
Oh, I got a couple. I got some of them little blue envelopes through the mail.
Yeah.
From the State Board of Equalization. Mm-hmm. And inside there was a nice little note signed by Governor Moonbeam. "Hey, folks, your fire tax is due, SRA."
Yeah.
They know that's illegal because they passed it on a majority of the vote without 2/3. You know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
And anybody that will take and pass a water bond and put a $7.6 billion tax on top of his people, everything he does, it's all about money.
Yeah, and that's always what it is. And there's only one real place they can go to get the money they need, and that's out of your pocket and my pocket. And as things are going in the state of California, they're going to spend us into oblivion. They're going to tax and spend until they're going to get as much blood out of the rock as they can until there is no more. And when that happens, where will we be?
Do you know with zero tax on them corporations come into Jefferson, the new jobs that will come to Jefferson will bring new civic improvement. Projects will begin, such as new hospitals. I can just hear the city and the county down here crying now from last week when the state has taken their money away from them. Wouldn't it be nice to fill up all the stores in Alturas? Why are these stores vacant in Alturas, ladies and gentlemen? Because they don't have the foot traffic to go in it. Why is what's going on in the city of Alturas? Well, we're not going to talk about that tonight, folks.
Yeah. Well, what else have you got there, Doug, for the state of Jefferson? What else can we look forward to?
Also, the officials in the new state of Jefferson will not introduce wolves into the ecosystems, and we will have our animal control officers to protect our ranchers and our farmers. And all of these half-eaten calves, like in Oregon and Washington, will not happen here in the state of Jefferson.
Think about that. Wouldn't that be wonderful if the government agencies worked to protect you instead of persecute you? What a nice place to live, a completely opposite situation than the one you're in now. I can't imagine any rancher or farmer in these northern counties that wouldn't give wholehearted support, financial, moral, emotional support to the state of Jefferson.
For more information, folks, go to the State of Jefferson website. You can go to our website, thevoiceoffreedomradio.com, and there is a link that you can go on there. Go on there and follow the instructions. Call some of our state legislators, assemblymen, and congressmen. And I tell you how I do it. I don't do it in the daytime. I wait till night till they're all gone out and the rooms are quiet. And I just call down there and it rings and rings and it says, hey, if you want to leave a message for Represent Dolly or whoever you wanted to, just leave a message. We'll get back to you. Load up them message machines in Sacramento, folks. And if you need to, like Mark says, just give a Jefferson for a Jefferson. A Jefferson is on a $2 bill. These people in Siskiyou County and other ones, some down in Redding area, even though people in Modoc, our government in Modoc, will vote to take the dams out on the Klamath, and it will ruin Siskiyou County, the people of Siskiyou County are trying to help the people in Modoc.
Well, you know, they did a similar knuckleheaded thing a few years back when they decided not to turn the water out to the farmers there that get the water out of the Klamath River along the Klamath River Basin in that district up there. And you see what kind of economic chaos that created. These ideas, somebody expects to profit from this, and so they're trying to sell you on the idea in the most nonsensical way. Anybody with a lick of sense can see that taking dams out is going to do damage to the ecosystem. And they, of course, deny that because they stand to make millions and millions of dollars. Everybody's got their hand in that pie. And if you're listening to those people, you're listening to the folks that are going to benefit from it. Listen to the guy on the street. Listen to the little guy. Ask him how it's going to affect him. That's where you actually need to look.
In addition, ladies and gentlemen, you can listen to The Voice of Freedom Radio every Saturday on KCFJ 570 on your AM dial.
Just like right now.
For conservative opinion and analysis of current events.
Yep.
And you can visit our website, again, ladies and gentlemen, www.thevoiceoffreedomradio.com.
And be sure to include that the. If you don't type in the computer won't.
It'll take you somewhere down the road.
Yeah, or down the river.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to finish up. We just give you a closing on that. There's people in Modoc that need help. They're in trouble. About 6-8 months ago, oh yeah, old me, stuck my nose in someplace. Some of you liked it, some of you didn't. Because the people in Cedarville, California, and I know there's supposed to be a little gripe between Cedarville and Alturas, but we're all Americans. We're all God bless America people, okay?
All in the same family.
All in the same family. We put out a plan. It was just a suggestion. I even said before that, this is only a suggestion because the hospital over there was going down for
the count.
Yeah, that's the good way of saying it.
Yep.
Going down for the count. You got a gentleman over there in Cedarville. I had the most admiration for this man. I know him. I've spoken to him. And I want to tell you what his name is, because I'll stand by that man. His name is Ben Zanstra. He's the Reverend. A Reverend that will come out of the churches in Modoc and speak out. Where is the Christian community in all these churches in Modoc? Where is the reverends? Where is the heads of these churches? Well, I think the good Lord needs a little help. I'll probably be criticized for that, but that's my belief. I consider myself a Christian. Okay? But with what's going on in the world, I think God needs just a little help. Don't you people in the religious community, in Cedarville and in Alturas, and in the, not just here, but in all over where you can hear my voice, come out of the churches and speak up. Only our country, only our lives, only our children, only our future, and only our God is at stake.
Well, you might want to think about this, folks. If you don't stand up for liberty now,
when are you?
You may not be able to practice your religion in what's coming. To be a Christian in what's coming is going to be tantamount to a criminal offense. If you cherish your religion, if you are a believing Christian, then you must work to preserve the freedom of religion in this country, and you must know that there is an active movement to suppress it. And if we give these tyrants the power to do the things they want to do, they will take away your right to practice Christianity.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can also, if you want to write to us, you can write to us at the Voice of Freedom Radio, Post Office Box 1023, Alturas, California 96101. We're coming to a close. Some of you people out there is not going to like this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't care. It's time that you speak up, folks. It's only our country. It's only our God. Don't you remember in 2011 when the Democrats had when the President Obama wanted to be reelected? What did they do? They took God out of their platform. God is our country. God is the way our country is, what is formed on, Christian Judeo principles.
Yeah, if they could take the God out of the platform, where are they going to take God out of next? They've got the 10 Commandments sequestered away. We can't display those anymore. It's just a matter of time, people. It's just a matter of time, unless you stand up.
Okay, well, we're going to have a couple guest speakers on next week or the following week.
Who are they going to be, Doug?
Well, we put out a fair and balanced deal to all three of the people that's in Shasta County running for supervisor in the 3rd Supervisorial District. All three of the ladies. We've only got information back and confirmation back on one. And that lady will be here on the 28th, because this radio station, it goes a long way beyond the Modoc County line, folks, and you people know that. She'll be here. Her name is Janet Chandler.
Good.
And we've got a local that's coming on, and I think we're going to bring him on the same time, right after this lady, and we're just going to hold out who he is. Maybe you're interested, folks, huh? Little tease there.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen,
yep.
Until next week at this very same time, old Doug, old Ross, and old Tony will be right here in the land that God created and the land that you love. Until next week at this very same time. Good day,
America.